Good morning, meat suits. Welcome back to Read and Weep, a podcast about movies and friendship. This is season 5, Kevin Bacon's Exquisite Corpse, and we're just 4 extremely butch men chopping some wood and playing a very long movie-watching game. I'm your host, Alex Falcone, recording in North Koreatown, Los Angeles, where it is still summer. Hunter, it looks like it might be winter for you. Did that happen?
Yep,
Wearing
it's
an
already,
adorable
just
sweater.
so you know, we skipped fall in New York this year, and we're just
Brutal.
going straight to a nasty, gross, wet winter. A wet
Brutal.
winter.
Your sweater's adorable, though. Okay, so joining us today, let me introduce you to the panel. First up, he's at Anthony Lopez Part 2 on Twitter. He's in Southeast Portland, and he's nice and clean and smart and sexy and firm and luscious. It's Anthony Lopez.
Hey, Alex, good to be here. It's early in the morning. Thank you all for joining me to accommodate that. I just want to let you know there's going to be no comedy foreplay today.
No, that's not how a real man does it.
Wimps. Real men go in, they unload their jokes, and they get out. That's what
That's how we do it.
podcaster does. That's what I'm going to be doing here today.
Also joining us, he's the co-host of the Old Gamers Almanac, a podcast about old games. He's from the woods of Brooklyn, and he's not perverted. He gets good grades. He goes to church. He's not like you. It's Hunter Donaldson.
Yeah, I am nothing if not a church boy, you know? I just have church vibes all over me, and I have worked hard to maintain that.
I mean, you have these shiny vibes of someone who used to be a church person.
Absolutely.
That is how you actually look.
I was brought up right, as they would say.
Yes.
You know? And then right is pretty relative
and then you
if you actually dig into it.
Yeah. Also joining us from Northern California, I originally thought it was just an act, but he really is sweet as fucking pie. It's Ezra Fox.
Hey, God is good, God is straight.
Before we start the show today, I want to thank all of our generous meat buddies, our generous and absent-minded meat buddies who continue to donate to the show at Metreon.com. If you want to join them and keep us limping down the tracks, you can, and you can get your own rambling, weird thank you segment, Metreon.com, and we thank everybody who supports the show. Okay, it's time to start out today with the news. First, I'd like to check in. Ezra, what's the donut news?
Did you know that it was National Cinnamon Roll Day?
National Cinnamon Roll Day.
Yep, it was National Cinnamon Roll Day.
I thought we found out that cinnamon rolls did something horrible in the 60s, and now we changed it.
They're the Columbus Day of pastries.
It's the Columbus of pastries, for sure. We all agree about that.
Yeah.
Cinnamon rolls have done horrible things.
The other thing I learned, it was yesterday. It was October 4th. And then also, they were hand rolled. So there are these things called hands. Also, they're handmade apple fritters. I think if hands do a thing, it's better, but I don't know what hands are from this.
You're telling me a hand made this?
Yes. That's all I got.
It is weird whenever a place says handmade, because that makes me think that they hadn't been touching anything before. It was all robots. But it's not as weird as when a restaurant is like, this is homemade or house-made French fries, because I don't believe you took these home to cut the fries and then brought them back into your business.
Everything else besides this was made by like Jean Grey of the X-Men, all through telekinesis. But this time, right, it's been actually touching it with your finger bones.
All right, well, that's all the news from the donut world.
I mean,
the segment
how
rules.
would you feel if you went to a donut spot and it just had a question mark and then it said "made" next to it? They're like, we don't know where these came from. They just fucking show up every. There's a wardrobe in the back. I think maybe a fawn in Narnia is making them. I don't know. All I know is
apple fritters, and then we've got mystery box fritters. Can't tell you where they came from.
Don't ask questions.
I open this wardrobe every day. There they are. It's great for my margin.
I don't ask questions.
I'm a little spooky. Yeah, a little spooked by it.
That's a good donut shop. In news, I wanted to quickly just catch up on. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about the chess cheating scandal, which you may all remember as the one that doesn't actually feature vibrating anal beads, but for some reason, every major news outlet in the world took that commenter on Twitch streams joke and has acted like that's the real story, and it keeps happening.
It's a better story.
It's the type of
it is a better story, but it's based on nothing.
But here's the thing.
And now
this absurdity.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everyone knows too that it's not true. So and people keep using the headline. So it's you're even clicking on it now cynically, being yes, we call it the anal bead cheating scandal,
Even
but we
though
all know
we
there's
agree
no
it's
anal
not.
bead. And when you click on the articles now, there's no mention of the anal bead. It's just in the headline.
It's the name of it. It's like the teapot scandal, whatever. There wasn't all
Teapot Dome.
teapots there.
There was no
right?
teapot in that.
But I was gonna say this is a great example of like maybe think about this every future headline you read, regardless of the source or the medium. Maybe
that is an
think
extremely
about
fair
this
point.
when you think about literally any news, especially stuff coming out of the state or coming out of a big conglomerate. Maybe remember the anal beads.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, and tip a canoe and
Next time a country tries to convince us that going to war is good, remember the anal beads.
Well, we did know that.
Remember the beads.
We knew that one.
Yeah,
I would
remember
tag
the
onto
beads.
this.
I didn't know that. I needed to be told that just now. I thought war was fun.
Well, so there is actually one interesting part about the vibrating anal beads portion of this is that because of that headline, some tech-minded chess geniuses set about to take a little Raspberry Pi, those tiny mini computers.
I love those.
And run Stockfish, which is like the best chess cheating program in the world, and have it translate moves into vibrations and send that to a vibrating thing that you could hide in your body. So this was not a thing that anyone had done before, but is doable if you talk about it enough in the headlines.
I wonder if the goal of this whole story is to just ruin chess forever. Like, I wonder if this is actually a hit piece on chess.
I love that guess, because one of the things that's really interesting about this whole scandal is that there's a rule in the official chess federation that if you accuse anybody of cheating, you get kicked out. What? So you are not allowed. Yeah, because they're all so smart and so egotistical that everyone at the top of chess thinks they got cheated when they lost. So you can't. It is illegal to say anything.
Horribly socialized with other people. That's why they play chess for fun.
This is largely true. But also they're also really worried about defamation lawsuits, which would ruin the game, and it makes the game look bad if people are always accusing each other of cheating. So you're not allowed to accuse anybody of cheating, which is why when this first happened, the guy who was accusing the other guy of cheating didn't say anything. He just quit, and then he tweeted, "I'm not allowed to say anything."
Yeah.
And they were super coy about it, but he has since the Cold War turned hot, and he did actually write a piece that was like, I am convinced that this person was cheating. And now it is, and then the chess.com just released their 72-page investigation in which they think it is very clearly plausible that this guy cheated on a bunch of online games, but we have no proof that he cheated on this, what they call over the board or IRL game that they played. So it seems like he's going to not get in trouble, and the guy who accused him of cheating is almost the best chess player of all time, is almost certainly going to get banned from the game for like 6 months or something.
But
that's crazy.
But I love when people use math to like prove that you did something wrong. Not like they don't have any proof. They just use like math and statistics to be like, oh, clearly you cheated. Why? Because the math just says so. It's cool. It's like one of my favorite things in the world is like Benford's law, like how they catch like tax cheats and
I love that.
money launderers, just with this weird equation. If your math does not follow this exact one rule, then you cheating.
Benford's if you haven't heard of Benford's, the simplest version of it is just that if you were to make up random numbers, they will be different from how normal random numbers are, and we can tell. Yeah. It's just that what you think random numbers look like is always wrong, which is an interesting thing about people, is that if you're just like, I'm going to put some numbers, it'll be way off from what a random number would look like.
Cool. So like, no matter
YouTube Benford's law if you don't know what it is. It's a real fucking it's very maybe we do live in a simulation type of math thing. Like it's one of those things that is so neat, and it's just like the numbers go in this very neat curve of any big group of numbers. And it's just like very like, whoa, that's just wild. Maybe we do live in the Matrix type of math fact.
What were you gonna say?
Cool. Oh yeah, no, I'm just the like just anytime you're looking at a data set, right? It's the leading number is what it's about, right?
Yes.
So that the 30% of the numbers in the data set, the first digit would be 1.
Yeah, they'd be way low because it turns out high numbers are way harder to get.
Basically, if it gets a lead with a 9, odds are it'll roll over, to the next one, basically, and then it's super cool.
So with chess, what they can do though is they can look at every game you've ever played, and they can look at how a computer would have done that game perfectly, and they can just say like, what percentage of perfect are you?
Right.
And the best player who's ever lived is like 72, and so if you're like 70, it's super suspicious. So they can just run your games through a computer program and say that you are too good and that you must be cheating, which is such a weird ego thing.
I read that in the story where they had like the supposedly cheating player on like a bar graph with all these other players as far as like how good he got over like a short period of time, and people were like, oh, it must be cheating because he got good better than or faster than Bobby Fischer did, and so people were like, well, there's no way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's a fascinating part of this that's I was explaining to Anthony over dinner the other day, which is that if I cheated, it would be extremely obvious because they would be like, he went from 0% to 50% perfect. That's really suspicious. So the only people who can actually get away with cheating are people who are like 68% perfect. And they're moving to 70. It's the only way you could ever not make it incredibly obvious.
You have to escape the not this asshole factor, right? Like, they could look at any of us and be like, this asshole doing that good? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No way.
No way.
No way. Have you talked to that dick? Fuck no. So you have to escape that. This asshole
be too
velocity.
good for that before cheating actually helps. What's up, Ez?
Well, just like you can cheat, like so. All you have to do, you just take about 10 years to do it, but you could totally cheat, right? So you go from 0 to like 2%.
Well, right.
right?
So but then, but you'd have to, because the computer's only going to tell you the perfect move. So there's actually this thing when people do cheat online where it'll show a perfect move, but the computer, the simulator, the Stockfish or whatever algorithm you're running, will tell you whether it was hard to see that perfect move. So what people will do is it'll generate a move and they'll be like, oh, I never would have seen that. What's the 5th best move here or whatever? And they'll go down the list until there's something that's like, I might have seen that if I looked hard enough. That's how I'll cheat. So you'd have to be very skilled as a zero at like, what is the 1% move here? Well, and then after a month, what's the 2% move?
They just need to have a perfect cheating computer, like the thing then, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to take it not just a perfect playing, but you have to be like we have Deep Blue can play chess perfect, but we need like
Pale Blue.
That's the computer program that cheats perfectly.
Light blue, baby blue.
Baby blue sounds untrustworthy. Also, great fun that there was a poker cheating scandal this week. There was a fishing tournament cheating scandal, and then last week was the Try Guy cheating. So it's a very cheating.
Everybody's cheating. Yeah,
everybody's cheating right now. The poker cheating, by the way, I mean, I know way more about poker than I do about chess. Everything I just told you about chess is from my friend Nathan, who I had lunch with yesterday, who's an expert. But I know a lot more about poker, and I am confident she was not cheating. That is actually just there's no rule that you can't accuse somebody, and it seems pretty clear to me that he's just a real sore loser.
I don't know enough about poker to even understand the story when I read it.
Yeah,
so
this seems like a reasonable thing to do.
The story is very clear. The story is very clear. She made an awful decision that happened to be right.
Yeah.
That sounds.
Does that happen in poker all the time, though? That's what I didn't understand.
Well, the difference was that this was for $250,000.
Yeah.
Like it was so much money that people don't usually make decisions that bad, and the odds of a decision that bad at that height being right are pretty low.
Well, also,
but it seems like the most likely explanation is that she did what they call is a misclick, which is where in real life you bet wrong. Like as if you'd clicked wrong on an online game. It seems like she thought she had a 3 and she actually had a 4. That's the most reasonable explanation because there's no good cheating algorithm that would have gotten her to that move. It would be so wild.
Right.
Baby Blue would not have come up with that move either. It was too
no
wrong. So, but the guy was such a huge whiner that she like gave him his money back, which kind of looks bad for her, but also is kind of a baller move to be like, look, dude, I'll get it back from you again tomorrow. Like I'm so much better than you at this.
More. Or I'm better than you. Either way, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, exactly. So that is going to bring us to the end of the news. We got a movie to talk about. Let's talk about a movie. All right, it's time for segment 2, The Game. As you know, we're playing a year-long movie-watching game called Kevin Bacon's Exquisite Corpse, where the person whose turn it is has to move the movie by a Kevin Bacon one move in the direction of a movie they picked before that everybody knows, and there are cards because that was too hard. All right.
Kevin Bacon one move that everybody knows.
Everybody knows the game.
That's what you just said.
A bacon
this week we're watching But I'm a Cheerleader, the 1999 American satirical romantic teen comedy directed by Jamie Babbitt, written by Babbitt along with Brian Wayne Peterson, starring Natasha Lyonne, Clea Duvall, Bud Cort, Mink Stole, RuPaul, and Rufio. And I picked this one. I picked it. I picked it.
Yeah.
We moved here via my power card that said I could move to any other movie that had the same aspect ratio. And this had the same aspect ratio as our movie last week. So, Hunter, it took a year to get into your movie and just 2 seconds to get out of it. So
Yeah.
we extricated ourselves. This was my scoring movie. I'm happy about it. Why I picked this is that Laser Weber was on the show a while back and was talking about a list of important queer cinema films that we had not seen before. And we ended up watching Carol. But I remember them mentioning this. And when this movie originally came out, the poster is so striking and the title is so funny that it was very intriguing at the time. I was like, what are we doing? So I've been wanting to watch it. So it's rated R for bullshit reasons. Although apparently it was rated NC-17 originally, despite having no nudity and no swearing.
There is a little bit of nudity. It's two-dimensional.
And yeah, she had to remove a reference to women going down on each other. That was it. And that moved it down to the reference to men going down on each other. It's the world is terrible. If you read more about what happened to this movie, the world's terrible. But I'd always wanted to see it. And so this is a great opportunity to do so. And I really enjoyed it. I think this movie was great, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it.
It's a good movie.
So for those of you who have not seen But I'm a Cheerleader, let me give you a quick 5-point patented micro summary. Okay. Megan is a cheerleader who thinks she's leading a normal hetero life despite some warning signs that she might actually be Megan the lesbian. Her family and friends get together and throw a fun intervention party and then send her off to a conversion therapy camp house where the girls are taught how to vacuum and enjoy being touched by a man, and boys are taught to chop wood and like sports. And tone-wise, by the way, if this sounds like it is referencing a place that is full of misery and torture, but it is done in a cartoony, funny way. Is what's happening, where everything that girls touch is painted pink and everything boys touch is painted blue, including like the wrenches when they're working on a car, they're blue wrenches. Like, it's great. Very thorough color palette.
Kind of like a Tim Burton, John Waters.
Yes, it is. It's very much Tim Burton, John Waters, for sure.
Yeah, it's Pee-wee's Playhouse if directed by John Waters. Is how I would describe the aesthetic of this
exclusively
movie.
about gender. Yeah. But while she's there, Megan the lesbian meets a cool girl with short hair who smokes cigarettes and knows what's actually up. And they become friends, but you get the feeling that it's friends in the sense of like Emily Dickinson has a roommate, you know? They briefly escape camp and visit a gay bar subtly known as the Cocksucker, where they kiss and it's beautiful and it's a little bit sad. And then they break up for an hour or so before graduation, but then they get back together and ride off to the sunset. And one of Megan's parents is proud of her, and it's kind of a nice happy ending.
Aww.
So it's like an intense subject matter dealt with extremely sillily, which is apparently controversial, difficult, was easy to misunderstand at the time, I suppose.
Well, it's very funny that, like, I mean, there is a horror movie coming out this year with the same premise that I think is a very interesting comparison to just about the sort of social awareness about what happens at these camps, what the reality is. Just, it's a nice juxtaposition from where we were in 2000 versus where we are now, which, by the way, I just figured out the title of this new movie, the they them, but it's has the slash in between, so it's they slash them. It's a very good name for a queer horror movie. I didn't put that together until literally last night.
That movie so far not seeming like it might be as good.
I mean, you can say if you look at reviews of this movie from the time, you would say the same thing.
Well,
but I think it's funny.
Did you guys read the Variety review?
No,
I was reading an interview with Jamie, and it referenced how all of these reviews were bad at the time, and specifically, they were like, the reviews they were mean. They weren't just like, we don't like this movie. They were like personal. And the Variety review really is mean, where it's like, whatever, I don't like the color palette. I don't think it's very funny. Jamie is inept, and doesn't seem like they know how to direct a movie, and like, what are they even doing here? Like, it's wild.
That's wild. And she's 29.
What's great about the interview though is Jamie was like, I liked that because it was so mean. I was like, oh, I struck a chord somewhere. Yeah. If they just didn't like it, it would be different.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead, Ez.
Well, so she's like 29, I think, when she directs this.
Yeah,
and,
this is a directorial debut for the first feature length. She made some like short films before this.
And
but...
like I mean, like I was curious. She's done a ton of TV since then. Like every show that you've watched, like bunch of Silicon Valley, bunch of stuff. Only Murders in the Building,
Amy Sherman Palladino stuff,
the L Word,
and Russian Doll stuff.
Yeah, Russian Doll,
right.
yeah.
But I was like, I would have loved. I mean, like I've seen she's done some other features that didn't really get a lot of fanfare or anything. I'm super curious of like did they get like just like glossed over? I guess like
No. Let me tell you what happened, Ezra. Let me tell you what happened. She's a woman. She's a woman directing.
Let me do this. Okay, it's Anthony's story time.
Yeah. No. I don't.
Okay, sorry. It's not a good story.
I don't even have specific details. I just have a story as old as time. She directed a movie that wasn't a huge hit, and she got put in director's jail. And if you're a woman specifically in director's jail, you're never getting fucking out of there.
Yeah, because women directors even
buddy.
include like you got an Oscar for your first movie, but you're still in director's jail.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
harder.
look at Patty Jenkins.
Yeah,
like her career between Monster to Wonder Woman was like 10, 15 years without any major directing thing, right? It's just, especially if your first movie like comes out like this and it's so critically reviled and it bombs so hard, you're not going to get to make another movie. You are going to go to TV
until you wait 20 years, 25 years, and it becomes a huge cult hit, and everybody loves you again, and then maybe the phone starts ringing.
Or you don't even do that because
found out that TV was her medium, though, and that she's like been an incredibly successful television director.
The money in TV, the work in TV, it's just like why would you leave that and deal with the headache of a feature if you can like just do TV?
I was surprised to like I understand that the color palette isn't like it's off-putting on purpose, I think, but like if for someone's first movie, you'd be like, why did you make it look like this? But how you watch this and don't think that it was funny is weird to me. Like that part I don't understand. Let's just like for early when she's making out with that boy and like looking around is so like the physical comedy of them making out got me like right away. I was so into this.
Yeah, Natasha, the way she's willing to like go out on a limb in like
she does an awesome job in this movie.
Really trusts the director and has always been a very bold actor. I mean, she grew up on John Waters sets. Like her mom was a regular collaborator of John Waters, and like you can tell she's obviously has a very unique personality. Has obviously grown into like the chain smoking, foul mouth kind of chaos gremlin that she is now, which is so awesome. But like the fact when she like the scene when she realizes she's queer and like just spit is just coming out of her mouth,
it's just drooling all over herself,
and like how brave. Like it sounds very silly to say, but like most actors would not do that. Most actors would not allow themselves to look so awful and so hilarious and so absurd, but she just didn't give a fuck. It's great.
It's very funny. Her performance in this role. I mean, I think across the board, I really like the performance. I think RuPaul is amazing, and I haven't seen RuPaul act that much. I liked Ru a lot, and like her parents are like old standby actors who are in a million things, and
Kathy from like was in like Raging Bull, a very young Michelle Williams, which I was trying to figure out. Dawson's Creek was already on the air by the time this came out, right? Like it must have been. It's pretty wild to have her in that.
Yeah, Dawson's Creek 98, I think starts.
Yeah, I mean, like, so she must have been a pretty big hit. It is funny to see RuPaul. One, my wife could not get over RuPaul with facial hair.
Yes, that's wild.
Yeah, it's weird.
Two, I could not get over like, man, it's amazing like how like young and like unsoiled by being a fracking baron he looks in this movie. Like back when I used to like really respect and enjoy RuPaul as a person before they became a fracking,
okay, tell me about. I don't know. Okay, what happened to RuPaul and fracking? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a classic Anthony reference, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, RuPaul bought a bunch of land and then let people frack on it, which is like a horrible thing and makes a lot of money every year. Makes more money off fracking than they do off their entire entertainment career. So I mean,
Should we
that's
get
very
into
cool.
fracking, guys?
Yeah,
Is that-
does
is
anybody
that
want
the
to
lesson?
frack me?
No.
Is there like
Seems like
does
it's
somebody?
good money. Yeah,
I
I've been
have
meaning to get
I
into
have
it.
a small apartment, but you might be able to frack under it. You'd have to get permission from the downstairs
We
neighbors
should
first.
do it like funny fracking. I
Yeah,
think that's kind
I
of my
mean, the
big
word
marketing
sounds
thing.
like it's going to be funny, right?
It does sound funny. I feel like we could kind of like frack on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
TikTok
yeah. Oh
fracking?
man,
Yeah,
TikTok,
frack talk.
frack talk
Look,
is definitely a
I've been-
genre that would succeed.
Yeah.
I've been saying for years the new ultimate speedrunning is speedrunning the death of the earth. So I think that's
Absolutely.
definitely like
Any
I
percent.
want
Have
to
you
get
been
on
saying
the
that?
ground floor of
I've
that.
never heard you say that before, and I talk to you a
I
lot.
say it all the time, Alex.
I back to the look of this movie. I really love the colors and stuff. I love the axe. I love like other things that are not supposed to be painted. I love a low budget movie. The only thing that makes me sad in a low budget movie is a low budget crowded bar.
Yeah.
Those are always like a real letdown where it's like, oh, they could only afford 9 people for this bar.
I mean, they do get Julie Dupley though as the attractive woman in the boat, which is a really awesome cameo. She's an incredible actress. I don't know, like I was really surprised to see her in it. I forgot she was in this. Same thing with Melanie Linsky, who's also one of my favorite actresses. To see like a very young Melanie Linsky in this movie using her real accent, which I always forget she's actually from New Zealand or wherever she's from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked her. She was funny. I think everybody is really funny. I mean, one thing that's interesting about this movie in the context of now is how tame it is as a parody, which is hard
Absolutely.
to remember like how biting this was then. And then the other thing is that this is like ostensibly this is about gay conversion, but is really just making fun of gender in a way that would be different now. Would be like, again, a little tame, a little bit obvious. Like a lot of this stuff. One of my favorite jokes is like, if you guys don't do a better job of this, I'm going to make you watch sports all weekend. Like that's their that's their punishment for the weekend. Is so hysterical, and not that we've like solved it all. It does feel like it would be like we've made some. There's been some steps, and that some of these things are more obvious. But even now, like just that hilarious version of the montage of gender is so funny.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really glad that like some of these jokes and things about like society and people who are really obsessed with enforcing gender normativity is less relevant today than it was in 2000. It's certainly not a debate still going on.
I understand your point.
Couldn't
all I was saying was that it's evolved. It's different. I think, obviously, this would still not be funny to a lot of voters who are really interested in your bathroom behavior.
Well, I just mean that like this is like, it's amazing the way the goalposts shift for hateful people, right? Like this movie, you could like remove sort of like the outwardly sort of like lesbian or gay like context of this movie and like put in like trans people, and these jokes are the same thing. But it's just like the people who used to really hate gay people are now like they claim to be okay with them, but like trans people are the real issue, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like the way it's this goalpost moving of like we gotta hate someone.
Yeah,
and
someone's got to be excluded. I mean, how are we supposed to survive?
Yeah, if anything, the stuff about like gender norms is more relevant today because the trans debate is so big and so filled with like hateful bigots and people who think
even
like,
calling it a debate feels generous to the bigots. But the attacks on people's lives for not conforming to your gender stereotypes are relevant now. That is happening a lot.
It's fun
people who think that they're the heroes in the story because they're pushing, tradition or whatever on people.
Yeah, they're like, okay, for the gay rights, okay, maybe we were wrong on that one, but for sure we got it right on the trans stuff. Obviously that's wrong, right, guys? History's going to be super kind to us there.
You should obviously mention that it always leaks back a little too, right? Isn't there like we can deny cake to gay people? Isn't that at the Supreme Court again? Isn't that still happening this term?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Supreme Court said tomorrow that I don't know, like that anything was back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any old horrible thing.
That's the slogan of this Supreme Court is it's back.
The old horrible stuff has returned.
Do you like stuff before the Voting Rights Act? It's back.
It's back.
Reject modernity, embrace tradition. The Supreme Court version.
But
yeah,
tradition
no,
from like 100 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
specifically a time period.
not
yeah, very specific.
not a living tradition that
Yes.
alive people practiced, like pre-alive people.
Yeah, no, it's
that
like
tradition.
It's like Coca-Cola, right? It's like we got rid of new Coke. You don't like that? Okay, fine. This is Wright's Classic. We got that. So.
Yeah, it's so
right, but it's
funny
still
that like
it's not the sugar version. It's still the corn syrup version. So it's like we're not going all the way back. We don't like. Turns out we don't actually like some of the things in the Constitution. We like very specific versions of these things as interpreted by the racist South in the 1940s.
That was the best. Chef's kiss, right?
Anthony, I think we cut you off there.
Oh no, just just like that. So many of the harmful jokes and stereotypes and things that was said about like gay people, especially around this time in the media. The way they're no longer said about like queer like male or females, but it's all about, they say the same exact thing about like trans people now or non-binary people now. It's just like, it's amazing the way there's just the same exact playbook and the same exact lies and misconceptions and untruths. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it's so funny to me, like, especially with Bros opening this weekend, which bombed pretty horribly. And I love that Billy Eichner is out there saying like homophobia is the reason it bombed. No, homophobia is the reason But I'm a Cheerleader bombed. All right. I will give you that. This movie certainly bombed because of homophobia at the time. But I think just like the way sort of like, especially sort of
white. Wait, no, go finish off why you think no one came to see Billy Eichner's movie.
Well, one, I think that first off, this idea that it bombed, it's still the second most successful rom-com in the last 3 years. All right. Rom-coms in general just don't make a lot of money anymore. People aren't coming out to see them in theaters. Two, Billy Eichner has spent his entire career building up that he's the annoying guy who harasses people on the street with microphones, and now he's a romantic lead, making out with this incredibly hot guy. I don't think so. Three, this idea of like this groundbreaking thing. I think it does suck that like this Bros bombing will lead to executives going like, well, they obviously don't like the gay movie, so we can't make anything like that, right? I think that does suck, and I think there is an element of truth to that. But I just think that like someone like Billy Eichner and like the crew who worked on this movie, making it like a movie about like really wealthy white gay men, it's just like, it's not exactly like an extremely sectional or actually progressive thing. It's like using the safest bet you can and sort of like still alienating a lot of the audience and like the lived queer experience of people who actually like.
I want to say that I feel a little over my skis on this part of the discussion, but I do want to talk about the fact that his character is a podcaster, because I feel like we know something about that.
Whoa,
yeah,
I didn't know
it's
that.
a hot new profession for romantic leads.
It's a perfect romantic lead thing, because it's like there's a lot of ad execs in movies, because it's like we don't really know what you do, but we know it's creative, and we can show. There's one visual scene with like you show you holding a shoe and pointing at it, and then we're like, oh, that's why he's so fun. This has some aspects of that where it's like we don't really know what you're doing, but you're funny, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
we were
Anthony,
talking about it the other day that like. The reason why podcaster is such a big romantic lead or just movie trope now is it gives you an excuse to do voiceover diegetically, right?
So you can
just
have someone do exposition in his podcast world.
Yeah, it's literally diegetic exposition, like voiceover. That's all like a podcast profession is in a movie or TV show. That's like why writers love it so much, because it allows the characters just to monologue exactly what they want them to feel without feeling like they're just doing weird voiceover.
I am fine with that, and in general I try not to be too annoying about like this profession in the movie is different from the real profession, because you're making it exciting and no one cares but me. So like, the stand-up comics have a locker in the green room, fine, I'll get over that, no one cares but me. But all I ask you, because it's very simple, it's very easy to do, all I ask is that your podcaster actually sit close to the microphone. That's all I want. I just hate, because they do it. There's parts of Only Murders in the Building where they'll set up a wide microphone, like an old-timey microphone, stand 2 feet back from it in a large wooden apartment. That would just be like the worst echoey sound you've ever heard.
They just had like a blanket over their head in real life.
Exactly. It really would have a blanket, a little blanket fort to keep it from bouncing off the walls. You don't have to do that. That's too much. All I want is put on headphones and stand close to the mic. Someone there knows that's how it works. Presumably the sound person on your movie knows how that works. Let the sound person tell you how close to stand to the mic.
He's in like the fancy radio studio, podcasting studio setup. My biggest problem with the podcasting in Bros is that people constantly recognize him from the podcast and want to take photos with him. And it's
that
like,
doesn't make sense.
That's not how no one knows what podcasters look like. Even like really successful ones, no one knows what you look like.
Yeah, the whole thing about a podcast is you see their photo and you're like, wait, that's what he looks like?
I mean, right. Yeah.
I don't want to boast, but I had a crazy experience when I worked at a biscuit shop in Portland called Pine State Biscuits, where I was working.
Who recognized you on the street as the biscuit guy?
They recognized me by voice.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Somebody was ordering a biscuit, and I was talking through the whole biscuit situation, and they were like, "Are you that guy that does the show about the board game Twilight Imperium?" And I was like, "Whoa, that's messed up."
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I've not had that happen to me this way, I don't think, but I have had it the other way, where I was visiting my wife when she worked at a university, and I was waiting for her in the lobby, and I heard the local NPR host on the phone. He was there talking to somebody, but I thought for a second it was on my headphones, and he was doing a story about not knowing how to get into the building. I was just listening to Jeff Norcross be like, I have been to the entrance, and the entrance does not open for me. Is my key card wrong? Like, it was really great. And if I looked at him, I wouldn't have done it. It only worked because he was behind me, and I recognized his voice. But that's how they should. So they should hear Billy Eichner's voice and be like, wait, are you the podcast guy? Take a picture with me.
I think it sucks that the movie hasn't done better. But to me, not really surprising when any movie doesn't do good if it's not like a superhero movie. So maybe they should have
don't do good right now.
Yeah, if they're not superhero movies, they're not doing anything. So this should have just been a superhero movie. That's my critique of basically every movie that isn't one. So it should have been
Bros.
Like Super Bros.
Super Bros.
It could have also been Italian Plumbers. It could have been Super Mario Bros. That would have been probably even better.
Actually, great idea. Wait, are you shipping Mario and Luigi?
I guess I can't. No. Well, yeah. I mean,
they're probably not really brothers.
We don't know that they're brothers. People, sure. It's a business. Oh, yeah, it's a business.
Anybody in Bowser.
They just say it because it's a business. It's not,
right? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I like this idea a whole lot. Just generally, that like instead of podcaster, superhero is the profession that everyone has.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I think that's the only way to break the whole superhero like thing is if instead of making superhero movies that are superhero movies, we just make normal movies, but everyone in it is a superhero, but they can be about anything. So like it'll just be, here are some people. Maybe it's like a crime movie, which would be ironic. And the criminals are like, yeah, we're all superheroes, but like not right now.
No, it's the same thing. It used to be right, like before there were silent movies, and then all movies were talkies, and you do anything. So it's like, okay, not all movies are superhero movies, and you do whatever you want.
Right. Eventually,
this is a gay rom-com.
Very little time on the superhero part of all the superhero movies. We'll just kind of at the beginning acknowledge that everyone in this movie is a superhero, so that you can watch it, and then it's
at one point he'll be like flying to like save somebody, but he'll be kind of in his head about the way that last conversation went. We'll be like, did he mean that he likes me, or does he even know? I should have been more clear.
This is not a bad pitch, guys. Just for the record, like I think this episode's getting optioned real quick.
Yeah. I mean, that is like the new hotness in like comic book movies, right? It's like it has comic book characters, but it's really more of like a law drama.
Yeah,
or it's really more of like a spy thing, or like it's more of like a paranormal thing. So like it is actually happening. Gotten to the point where it is just like.
But as yet, Anthony, not been a gay rom-com. That's what we're requesting.
We're
just saying it's an MCU, unrelated to the superhero part, gay rom-com. That's all we want.
Give me like a French art film, okay? That's slow and thought-provoking, and it's dancing. And they are superheroes. So that we get, all those people in there.
At one point, two people in a car pick up their superhero friend from superhero work, but then they just drive off and go get in adventures.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The problem is, though, they would never allow him to chain smoke enough to really get that vibe, which is a real issue.
Disney doesn't like
Can they
that.
vape in the MCU?
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, I think you can vape.
Can you make a modern French movie where they're chain vaping?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've wandered pretty far.
That's
from
not the same.
I feel like the point is we all liked this movie, but it's pretty short, and I don't. We have
Well,
not.
and I don't want to ruin the gags because this is one of those weeks where like I don't know how to say this, but it's almost like I think if you're listening, you should just turn us off right now and just go watch it. Like you should just watch it. It's,
Hunter, we want
turn
people to
us off.
listen. We want them to listen.
Mute us, okay? You can keep us
mute
on
us,
so
let
we
it
still
keep
get
playing,
that click
so we still
or
get the
whatever.
play. Yeah.
Let us
Or
keep
if
the
you're
play,
someone-
but like, will you just watch this one? If you haven't seen it, you should
That's a
really
fun time.
see it.
It's a
very
good time.
fun.
85 minutes.
If you're like me, who I haven't seen this since I was actually in high school. That's how long it's been since I've seen it. So it's very fun to revisit a movie that, like, even as a high schooler who I saw this, and I was just like, so much of this movie stuck with me, even though like I don't remember a lot of specific stuff, but so many of like the feelings and like the images of this movie have just stuck with me. And it is cool as well that there's now the director's cut, which I watched, which is a minute longer and has
it's just singing
3
songs, right?
little
It's the funny
changes.
song?
No, there's no songs.
Oh, okay. She said she put the songs back in on the DVD, and maybe it was just as a separate thing, not on.
I
the...
saw
Well, I
one
mean,
of the
there's-
scenes, like 30 seconds of the God is great. God is
Yeah,
good.
there's a
God is
song
great.
there's like
scene when they.
There's a different songs where the camp counselor sings like pop songs with the lyrics changed to be about your conversion.
That's not in the director's cut. There is the scene.
In the interview, she said she regretted cutting that because it was like really funny, and it was one of the things that inspired the movie was being at like her parents ran a drug rehab camp where they sung pop song. So she learned pop songs with the wrong words.
Oh, it's funny.
She just thought they were good songs, but they were about like I don't want to do drugs anymore. And so she.
I mean, I did the same thing with Weird Al. Right, I learned so many actual songs.
There are songs
Yeah.
that I only found out later were not Weird Al originals. Yeah. That's so true.
But yeah, the director's cut has like I love like these little changes. I mean, we talked about it a little bit about how wild the MPAA is, especially if you think about like 1999 when this movie came out. Look at the list of movies that came out and had no problem getting like a PG-13 or an R rating, and then like this has like girls kissing in focus, and they were like, absolutely not. If we release this in the theaters, fucking, it's gonna be awful. The world is gonna end. It's just so insane.
All right, so that's enough. We liked it. It was good. It's short and enjoyable and good movie. But let's find out how good it is. Let's rank this from 1 to 33 in the greatest movies of all time of season 5.
Yeah,
the master quality list. Where do you put But I'm a Cheerleader 1999?
I'm gonna say for me, it's probably top 10.
Top 10. Okay, better than Batman. Better than Happy Together.
I saw this movie for the first time this year. I actually saw it earlier this year. It was I do a movie night Monday nights, and we put all the movies that people suggest on a wheel, and then we spin the wheel.
Nice.
And then we pick the movie, and
what a fun
this got
game.
picked. And it was very fun. And it killed with the room. You know what I mean? Like people were hooting and hollering at this movie. People were cackling.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun.
It plays real good to a crowd. I think that. I mean, is it? Yeah, I like it better than Batman. Actually, I will say that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it was more fun.
Did you like it better than Happy Together?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So you're saying 9.5 from you, Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. I think I should go next since this was my movie. I put this. I feel like this is very similar to Bowfinger to me in like similar genre. Like it's also a parody. It's also kind of a spot, on the nose in a few places. So I'm going to say this is just slightly more enjoyable than Bowfinger, but not as good as Apollo 13, the greatest movie of all time. So I'm going to say 12.5. Ezra, where do you rank But I'm a Cheerleader?
This is real tough. It does feel like that's the right range, right? So it's somewhere, I think, in that 9 to 15 zone.
I like when we at least all agree on zones. That's interesting.
Yeah. Zone agreement, which would be a good alternate title for the podcast.
Zone agreement.
Zone agreement.
Sounds a little sportsy, but
you're right.
Zone.
I'd love to get a bunch of sports people in here, though, listening.
Wouldn't
confused.
that be fun? Yeah. because they're not right now. We're not getting to them mostly.
We don't get any sports people. Can we get some sports people in here? Some my people, football people.
Man, isn't it annoying that every week the sport's on a different channel? All right, that's my new sports take.
I hate it.
They move it. They put it on different channels. It's hard. Ez, where do you put it?
Skip me for now.
Okay,
I really gotta sort this one.
I think I'm also kind of in the same zone. My original instinct was one after Batman. I like Batman quite a bit. I also like
really
this.
Well made.
I don't want to put it next to Happy Together exactly because it's kind of weird to have like the gay block.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
You know
zone?
what I mean?
Yeah,
I kind of don't want to
listen,
do
on
that.
my personal list, Happy Together is a lot higher. So
Oh no, mine too.
Right.
Happy Together should have been. I put Happy Together as the second best movie of all of our movies. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think it's a little high, but yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go just one after Batman.
I love this because it really does reinforce the point. But if it had a superhero in it, we would have liked it more. All right, so it's right after Batman, 10.5.
Batman 1989 barely has a superhero in it, right? It's
more
about it. Yeah, a story about a weird fetish millionaire who goes on spree killings and fucks with a clown. Yeah, right? It's awesome.
And for a superhero, I mean, there is that scene where he goes, "Let's get nuts," and like in that part, you're kind of like, I don't think this guy really is a superhero. Like, I don't think a superhero would say, "Let's get nuts."
All right, Ezra, we cannot stall any longer. We need an answer. Otherwise, your answer is going to be picked at random between 1 and 33. So
no, let's not do that. Come on.
No, so I think the it's tough, right? Because Out of Sight is like too low for me. But I think it's easily. I think it does do similar stuff as Bowfinger, and feels like this is, I guess, better, more important. I could definitely feel good about it going above Apollo 13 also.
Yeah, that's very important to note.
How could you feel that
just
way?
Joyful about that, actually, always.
It's confusing.
I think that where it breaks down is like, okay, I actually didn't even see Good, Bad, and the Ugly, so I don't even know.
Yeah, that's hard. That's not really fair.
I think below Batman feels right for me.
Okay. Cool. Same place as Anthony, 10.5, which gives us a total score of 43 or 10.75 as its final answer, which means this is officially the 11th best movie of all time of season 5. But it does say, so I hate this, but also it does something kind of nice, which is that Apollo 13 is now 13th. So
the
I like
13th
that.
movie of all time.
Yeah, hard to argue that. Nothing is going to be above it now because I want to lock that in because that's perfect. All right, now we have to do a scoring update. Ezra, what is the current score, please?
My goodness. This is big news. Get ready for the big swings on everyone updating their own boards at home. So, used to be. Wait, did I blow this before?
I don't think so. 15, 15, 14, 11?
15, 15, 14, 11?
That's what I have.
Okay. Well, so used to be Alex, 11, 4th place. Hunter, 14, 3rd place. Ezra and Anthony tied for 15 and 1st place.
All right. And so I get 5 big points for reaching my 3rd pick of the season. And I said last week
you blew it. You had the chance.
I was going to keep them all for myself because I deserve it. But I have what happened was, as you guys may recall, last week Ezra announced that he could stop me, and then I made him feel guilty for it, and so he did not. And so I'm going to give Ezra 1 point for being a good person, for making the right call.
Oh,
so I'm going to keep the other 4 to myself so that I am back in this game, but I am not going to pull him to the lead. Ezra, you get 1 point for.
Tight clustering then, guys.
Yeah.
So now last place with 14 points is Hunter, tied for 2nd. All right, we got Alex and Anthony, 15 points. And then somehow, top of the board, Ezra, 16.
Fascinating. Wow. This is a very exciting finish to this. And the next order of business that I'm going to do is that I am going to play another power card. I think Ezra's card is too strong. Everyone is discarding all of their cards and starting over. We're redealing all power cards. I'm done with it. I hate it.
I had a good card.
I know. And everyone was too strong. I couldn't handle it. They're all gone now. Whatever you had, you no longer have. All power. Even your old ones that you sat on for a long time.
Wow, my dusty cards, though.
Your dusty old cards.
They're collector's items. They're going to appreciate.
I mean, I do have to respect the play that you had 2 power cards. You used one last week, and then you used another one this week, and you immediately get 2 more. Kind of amazing.
Well, I think we were gonna redraw cards soon anyway, but Ezra's was too strong and I hated it, and so it just made me nervous being
You
there.
don't even know if I had it.
Right, the card that you allegedly had, and I paid you a point to not have anymore. Okay, so now let's do some redrawing of cards, and then we're gonna pick a new order. Oh, and I need to pick a new movie. There's so many businesses to do. Do you want new cards before we pick all of this, or do we do the movie first?
I want to see my new cards ASAP so I can figure out a play.
I need to know this. My brain needs it.
Okay, so you guys talk amongst yourselves for 3 minutes.
Yeah, so I hope I'm first finally, because I've never been first, and I feel like if I get a good card, I could just get to my movie.
There's also here. I mean, and even if you don't, this movie has one of those like secret casts that there is so many good movies you could go from here. I mean,
what are some examples of that?
Well, I mean, we can go to like Harold and Maude, through Bud Court, through Julie Depley. We could do the entire Before trilogy, any one of those movies,
or the entire Three Colors trilogy.
What? Yeah. Any color? Any Before?
But arguably, I think that the Before trilogy is like arguably the best trilogy. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and After Midnight.
Arguably, the Three Colors trilogy is, I think, a little bit better. Actually,
Captain America is probably the best trilogy.
But in terms of like consistency and like an impressive project done over like 30 years,
that is very cool.
The Before trilogy is pretty amazing. I don't know if I've actually seen any of the Three Colors thing. If we wanted, we could stay in this sort of like important queer cinema thing, and we could go to Brokeback Mountain through Michelle Williams, which would be pretty neat.
That was on my list of potential
get to
moves.
Ang Lee, through Claire Duvall. We could do Girl Interrupted, through Melanie Linsky. We could do Heavenly Creatures or a bunch of other great stuff. Heavenly Creatures, I think, would be really fun. I mean, it's not a very fun movie, but it's a pretty good one. Yeah,
right,
and
that's
then
enough. Everyone has their 2 cards. Good stalling. Thank you, guys. Everyone has 2 power cards now. So take a look at that.
God, this is gonna break my brain.
Ew!
I hate both.
I hate one of these cards.
This is hard. Okay.
Wait, guys. You should, if you hate the cards, you should offer to trade with the other person who hates that card.
Ooh, blind trade.
I don't want anyone to play this card, so I'm just going to ignore this card. I don't want to give this to someone.
Can you tell us what it is?
It's the one where you watch a porn parody of the movie instead, and I don't even know why that's in there. Like,
that's funny.
Cool. I do not want to watch and discuss a porn. All right.
No,
I don't want to.
It's funny.
I would just
we did
watch
it once.
the regular version and then imagine
the
porn parody.
So the next order of business, we got to burn through a little bit more business. So next, I have to pick a new Target movie. And I was looking over the list of the movies people suggested for you, Ezra, and I thought it might be helpful to take something from them. The thing on that list that I want to see the most is Dark Crystal, which I've never seen.
Oh yeah.
But the casting is super hard. You really have to get there through another Muppet movie.
It's also not great.
It's not great.
No,
Frank Oz is dead.
I mean, yeah, kids. Wait, what?
Frank Oz is in it, so like you can get.
Frank Oz is the most useful, but it's just not that useful overall.
You have to get the Miss Piggy thing.
Yeah, it was going to be weird. So I'm going back to what I was originally planning on doing. I just screw your list, as that was your game. I'm going to pick just another thing that I've been wanting to see, and also I like pushing having a different genre that I'm heading towards than everybody else. So my new money pick is Princess Mononoke from 1997, which is one of the Ghiblis I haven't seen yet. So it's just an excuse to watch a Ghibli with my wife. So what a good time for me.
Who's the voice cast for this one?
So I'm assuming we're going to use the American voice cast, which gives you some people. I didn't actually look at what it is.
Minnie Driver, Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Crudup,
those are actors.
Claire Danes, Jada Pinkett Smith, John DiMaggio, Gillian Anderson, Keith David.
Yeah, that's a good list. So a lot of good options there for a cast. As long as you get to count that. Okay, so that's my pick. That's where I'm heading next. I have no idea what. Again, I did not game this out, so I don't know where this puts me on moves or anything. I just wanted to do it. And then last order of business, Let's see. Do that. Time to. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I was thinking about. I have thoughts on what I'm going to do if I move through here. I have some of those ready, but first we have to pick a new order. So we're going back. This worked last time pretty well. So this is my Dodger Stadium mini helmet that used to have soft serve ice cream in it, because I do believe that if you go see a Major League Baseball game, you're required to eat at least something out of a tiny helmet. It can be,
all the pros do that. That's true.
It could be chili. Yeah, you have to. What else do they serve in helmets? Mostly the ice cream sundae. There were two things, because there's a slightly bigger. There's a helmet, and then there's a bigger helmet. I can't remember what else it was. Anyway. So I have our names written on these 4 pieces of paper that are folded up. I can't see them. This is very real and random. So I'm going to decide who is the first pick for round number 9. And I will say, just statistically going back on this, Anthony, out of the first 8 rounds, has had the first pick 5 times. Alex has had the first pick 0 times. I've never gotten it. I kind of always hope I don't, but I still don't. All right. Here we go. First pick for round number 9 is Anthony again.
Anthony.
How
Wow.
the fuck?
How
How is that? What are the odds of that? Like 1 in 8?
I bet you I'll be last.
Oh man. So yeah, Hunter so far out of 8. Hunter has been last 5 out of 8 times. I've been last twice, and Ezra's been last once. So Anthony, while you keep thinking about what you're going to do next, I'm going to pick the second person in order. Hunter.
Oh, it's me.
Hey, you're not last. Also, this is your
Yay.
first time ever being second, Hunter. Congratulations.
Hey. I'm second.
Yeah.
Me.
Well, Ezra, do you want to be third or last? What do you think?
I'd rather be last, I think.
Being last does some interesting things for you. No, it's me. I'm third.
Yeah.
So you are last, as you got your wish.
Sweet.
You did see I drew a little heart next to my name. That was
very
fun. That was a
sweet.
little thing I did. All right. So Anthony, Hunter, Alex, Ezra. I will just point out a couple of other things you could do. So I definitely had Harold and Maude on a potential list. I've also never seen Wayne's World, which you can get to. I've also never seen Uncut Gems, which everyone keeps talking about, and Natasha Lyonne is in that. You could also go through Clea Duvall to The Faculty, which is a spooky movie.
I mean,
that I remember seeing. That's the one where they drink too much water, right? You could tell they're aliens because they drink water.
Yes.
To help with the brains of the team, so I actually made a list of every single actor that's been in a Kevin Bacon movie, with their movies.
You were busy. How did you do that?
It took an hour. It was fine. So there are absolutely Bacon movies you can get to, which will be one move away from. What are you trying to get to? Was it Blowout? Was that what you're trying to get to?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the
fine.
Virgin Suicides.
Okay, sorry.
Anthony's going to the Virgin Suicides.
Also, then yes, so there is a movie you can get to so 2-move one for Virgin Suicides.
What is that?
Actually, it is Sleepers. So it'd be Sleepers.
Oh,
Jonathan Tucker, Virgin Suicides. So
well, here's the thing.
But you'd have to get Hunter to agree to that.
Yes, that is true.
Or you could set up Hunter's movie by doing the intermediate.
Our movies are kind of close. I'm pretty sure. I think there's like one in between. So maybe we can make a series.
If you want
to need me to help.
You could do you do Footloose with John Lithgow, which goes to Blowout. Diner.
Fun.
The other Kevin Bacon, John Aquino, which goes to Blowout. Or you could do, let's see, Hero at Large or Telling Lies in America. 2 other ones that go to Blowout.
This was a smart play, Ezra. Thank you for sharing your resources.
There you go. There's no knowledge.
What about me?
Yeah,
you didn't know my movie yet.
No, I just put it in. So you could get to if it Sleepers. Billy Crudup is in Sleepers and goes to Princess Mononoke.
So Anthony, I want to point out that in between, just so you know, because it looks like to be kind of a bad movie, but in between our movies is the movie Basic, directed by John McTiernan.
Oh God, that movie sucked so much.
I'm sure it does suck.
I would not watch that again. I watched that one.
I will also just say really quick, and then I'm gonna force you to make a decision, Anthony, for time. But I'm gonna say it's also just a reminder. It is Spooky Month, and it is the Rocktober.
Oh man!
So if you can get to a spooky movie or a rock movie, the Rock movie, that would be an additional fun thing for me. Maybe we should have set a bonus. Maybe there should be a bonus.
Hey, Blowout is sort of a horror movie. Actually, it's like a slasher.
I will say. How about I'll say if you pick a movie, not your goal movie, but if the movie you pick has The Rock, you get 1 point, and if it is fully spooky, you get 1 point. How about that? Is that fair? Proposal. I can't say that for sure. I'm proposing.
Thumbs up. I co-sign that.
All right, sure. Yeah. Sounds good.
I think having some Lucy points around might actually be good for this game. Also, I just want to watch those two things, so I want to incentivize it from you guys.
watch
There
the
are
horror
no
movie.
more good rock movies. We've done them all.
We have exhausted the good The Rock
I
movies.
don't
That's true.
need to watch any more rock movies, especially because look, if The Rock's not gonna try anymore, why the fuck am I trying? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
All right,
what
well,
are we
so
even doing
those
here?
points might go unclaimed, but
Oh, I'm having a tough time here, you guys. I'm having
Oh my god! Wait, you could get to The Rock in one move right now if you wanted to.
What's that? Give it to me.
DC League of Super Pets. Natasha Lyonne.
Oh no!
is in it with it.
No!
It is not terrible. There's some fun stuff in there.
It's clearly no.
Can we watch a spooky movie? What's the spooky options?
Yeah, what are my spooky options?
It's spooky season.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want a spooky movie?
No.
I'll give you a fucking spooky movie.
Yeah,
Please
do.
do. I forgot Ezra hates spooky movies.
Shit.
I don't like them either, but my wife does, and so this is for her.
Yeah.
No. You know
What
what?
do you got?
I got nothing. I'm really having a hard time with this. I thought there's no way the math works out that I have to go next.
No.
So I didn't even try. So I don't even care.
6 of 9, Anthony. You have done 6 of 9 first picks.
Yeah.
That is wild.
I don't give a shit anymore.
Girl Interrupted?
Whatever. No, I'm not gonna do Girl Interrupted. All right.
The Faculty.
Let me tell you what we're doing. What? No, I'm not doing The Faculty. I am gonna move to Kathy Moriarty, and I'm taking us to 1995's Casper.
Oh,
I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Okay.
That's a good 1 point pick.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll take the points. It's got some Bill Pullman. It's got some.
No,
other,
this is a solid ass move,
in it.
Anthony. I definitely considered this, and but that was before I knew there was a point involved, so I didn't actually seriously choose it. But yeah, this is a great move. Okay, so
I could have done Copland. I've always wanted to see that.
Oh, that's good.
Whatever. Yeah, we're doing Casper. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit anymore. I got nothing left to lose.
Why are you?
Broken man.
I don't want to watch Copland. It doesn't look like from that picture, but I would love to watch this. So, okay, we're moving via Kathy Moriarty to the 1995 film Casper, starring Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's a spoopy movie, which is the best kind, Ezra. That's actually the real answer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're doing spoopy. And Anthony will get a bonus point next week, which will accelerate this race. Okay. Good work. Does anybody have any other moves you have to do? Any power moves you have to do before you?
No. Someone who got rid of my cards.
Yeah, there's new ones. All right, cool. Well, let's put that off. I
just want to indicate real quick before we finish, I could play my card that makes us watch the porn parody version of Casper instead.
Oh my god.
And because I'm a good person, we're not going to do that. And I'm just going to indicate that every week.
Threat for every single
we have this permanent threat.
Yeah, don't anger me because I will ruin this show.
Just out of curiosity, Hunter, have you Googled to see if this exists?
Not on this browser.
I'm going to say from a very brief no. There are plenty of ghost-related things, but so far I have not seen. I'm not seeing a Casper specifically.
Okay, well, you don't know where to look.
Yeah.
Well,
I do.
Okay.
The spooky web.
Yeah, maybe it's there. The porn parody idea only works if it's like the high production value ones where there are a bunch of stupid scenes. Like we watched the Star Trek one and it was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if it was really just them having sex wearing a ghost costume, no one needs to review that.
I mean, the ectoplasm jokes write themselves. You know,
I do think that part is solid. Yeah. Also, this is the one with the inventor, right? Where there's like his dad's like an inventor.
I don't know. I haven't seen this movie since 1995, Alex.
Right,
I have no idea.
We'll find out. And Hunter's threat will remain a threat and not an actual attack at this point. All right. Well, that's it. It's all settled then. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We'll be back in next week. Next week, we're talking about the 1995 film Casper, starring Kathy Moriarty, the spoopy movie for Spooktober. If you have any thoughts on this or But I'm a Cheerleader, send us an email, podcast@read-weep.com, or on any moves we could have done. But remember, when you suggest a thing we could have done, Anthony doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He's moved on. It's all over for him. Anthony, thanks for being here.
There's nothing scarier for October than an Anthony with nothing to lose.
Thanks for being here, Hunter.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
And Ezra, always a pleasure to talk to you, sir.
Yeah, of course.
We'll be back again next week. Thank you for listening. Talk to you then. Bye.
Bye.